Hey guys, it's Andy. I asked for video requests, and this one is always really highly requested. It's labor and delivery, and I finally had the time to do it. The baby's sleeping, and I have nothing better to do. So I'm sorry I look like crap. I'm in my boyfriend's shirt, and I have my hair up in an ugly bun, and I have no makeup on, and my eyebrows are like, one's really thick and one's really thin. I don't know what's going on with that, but it just looks really funky and it's bothering me. Anyways, so if I look at my phone a lot, it's because I have like labor and delivery questions on here, and I have to I hate this cord. It doesn't stay in my phone. Anyways, so I can't remember them all, so I might constantly be on my phone, so please excuse me if that happens. Okay, so I'm gonna start from the beginning. If I ramble, I'm sorry. So I went in Thursday, the 21st, to my OB/GYN for an induction appointment, because I was going to be induced the following Monday. So I had to be checked and everything and prepared for that. He's waking up. So I got my cervix checked, and it was dilated the amount of your pinky tip, barely at all. And they decided to do an ultrasound, and I don't know why I just did that, an ultrasound is. But I went in to get an ultrasound to make sure the baby would pass a breathing test and a kick test. Well, he passed his breathing test. I watched him breathe in the womb on the ultrasound machine, but his kick test, he would not wake up. So they gave me a big can of Coke and made me drink it, and still nothing happened. So they were like, we're gonna get your OBGYN. This isn't normal, blah 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 blah. Freaked me out, basically scared me to death. And then brought her in, and she was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and induce you now, because I'm not really concerned about him not waking up and doing the kick test. I'm really just, why risk it, just send you in there, it's not a big deal. And I was like, okay, cool. Freaking out, oh my god, now? Oh my god, I was prepared Monday, I had to call my boyfriend, he's 2 hours away, what? So then I went home, packed all my stuff, got to the hospital, got my room, sat there with my dad and my grandma, and then my mom came with Travis a little while later. But anyway, so I was sitting there, I got the Cervidex or something put in my kuka, and what that is it's something to ripen your vagina so it goes from this to this, so a baby can come out. Anyways, and since I was like this and I needed to get to this, I needed that soon, and they told me everything about it, and they were less than 1% of people go into labor because of this, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay, cool, so not until tomorrow. Gotcha. There's a crazy squirrel outside my window. It's wagging its tail. It's so where was I? Oh yeah, okay, so I got the little thing in, and then my mom and them came, and we were sitting there, and I felt I was having really bad contractions, and I was told the nurse, I was I'm having bad contractions, is this normal? And she was like, it's fine, it's whatever. And then the doctor came in, and I was my stomach really hurts, I'm having bad contractions, and he's looks like your uterus is just playing around with these, it's not a big deal. And I was okay, if you say so. And so I was alright, and she's but we can give you some pain medicine in your IV. I was alright, okay. And so they put it in my arm, and I got the IV in there, and the first time that they gave it to me, I felt no contractions. I felt them, but they were not as bad. They were they kind of felt like Braxton Hicks. They didn't hurt. So it was okay, and Travis and I just laid in the bed and talked about how we were about to be parents, and I played my DS, and we watched TV on my little portable DVD player, because hospital TV sucks. So yeah, so then the pain medicine started like wearing off. I felt really bad contractions again, and you know, my stomach was really hurt me. And then I got another round in my IV, and this time it didn't help at all. The contractions were really strong still and really hurt still. And he's waking up. So I was like, you know, these are really strong, and you know, I was like freaking out about it. I was trying to act calm because I didn't want to be one of those girls that were like, it hurts, you know, like I hate people like that because it's really not that bad. So it was hurting, and I was just sitting there like, you know. So yeah, so I was there just sitting in bed like dealing with my contractions, and then me and Travis got in a fight. And this was around the time that his mom was going to be leaving. So I was like, okay. So he got really mad at me for some reason, and then was like, I'm leaving, whatever, bye, I'll see you tomorrow. So then he left with his mom, and then like maybe like 10 minutes later I went to the bathroom and I was like trying to poop, and then he came back and, you know, was like, I'm sorry, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay. And I laid back in bed and I was like, my stomach really hurts. I'm telling the nurse that I'm having really bad contractions. And this was like, you know, like the 50th time that I told her I had to poop. And also I was laying in bed and I felt a gush of fluid, and I called her in, and she like wiped me down, and she was like, it's probably just pee, it's nothing, it's not your water, you're fine, blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay, I would have known if I peed myself, but okay, maybe you're right, you're a nurse, you know. So then after Travis came back, we were sitting in the bed, and she was like, okay, well, I'm gonna give you some sleeping medicine, so that'll help you and you can get some rest. I could tell that she was getting sick of having to come in my room every 5 seconds, and that she was sick of me. He's awake, so I might have to go get him in a couple seconds. I could tell she was getting sick of me. So she gave me like a sleeping pill, and she was like, okay, well, your boyfriend and your mom's gonna have to leave because this is gonna give you hallucinations and all sorts of other things, so they're gonna have to leave so you can sleep. And I was like, okay, alright. And she had never checked my cervix or anything, so after she gave the pill, my mom was like, when are you gonna check her? And she was like, I'm about to do that right now, like a real smart ass about it. And so I was like, okay, you know, whatever. And Travis was about to leave. He didn't leave yet because he was like packing his stuff. And then so she goes down to check me, lifts my gown and everything, and she's like, oh my god. And I'm like, you know what? You're looking inside my kuka and you're saying, oh my god. And she's like, I see hair, I see the head, oh my god. And I'm like, and Travis is like, is there time for an epidural? Oh my god. And I'm like, give me an epidural now. I'm not pushing this out my vagina without epidural. And she's like, it's too late for an epidural. He's coming now. Call the doctor. And yeah, so then they take my legs and they, you know, they're putting them all like that. Sorry about my froggy pajamas, by the way. And they're like, the doctor's on his way. And I was like, you know, like, what do I do? Do I push? Do I not push? You know, they're not telling me. She's like, you can go ahead and push if you have the urge. So I'm sitting there like, you know. Then the doctor finally comes, and like the baby's head's out at like this point. And then the doctor comes, and the baby comes out in about like 2 seconds. He's born. I held him for like 3 seconds, and they're like, oh my god, he's not breathing, he's turning purple. And Travis is like, why is he like blue? And I was like, yeah, like, why is he blue? And they're like, oh my god, he's not breathing. So they go and take him to like the newborn table, and they're putting like this thing in his throat and pumping air into him. And then all of a sudden he goes, wah! And rips it out of his mouth and starts screaming. Yeah, so that's the whole labor and delivery part. So it literally lasted about 2 whole seconds. I was crying the whole time, not because I was like, yay, my son's born, but more like, oh my god, my baby's gonna die. He hasn't even had a chance to live. This stupid biatch killed my son. Oh my god, my baby. You know, I told her I was giving birth to him. I told her he was ready to come out. You know, I was sitting there like crying. And Travis is over there with the baby, and all the nurses are like, calm down, calm down, calm down. And I'm like, you know, and then this lady comes up to me, she's like, we got to him in time. Oxygen got to his brain and his heart and everything and his lungs, so he is not going to be retarded or anything like that. And I was like, you know, like twitching my eye at her, like, get out of my face. Like, I was so, you know, PO'd. And while all that was happening, they were taking the placenta out and like pushing on my stomach, and a bunch of blood was coming out of there. And then he sewed me up. And then they went to the NICU with the baby, and Travis was like, do you want me to go with him? Stay with you? I was like, go with him, you know. And then they, you know, cleaned everything up, and they were like, in an hour, you need to go to your other room. And I was like, where's my baby? You know, like, WTF, this is not how it was supposed to go. So then an hour later, we packed everything up, and we moved to my new room, and they were like, in a little bit, you can go to the NICU and see your baby. And I was like, yay, so excited. I hadn't seen him yet, you know, I wanted to see him like now. So, yeah. So then, Travis and I went to the NICU, and I couldn't hold him at first because he was hooked up to all sorts of like machinery and had an IV in his head. He did have it in his arm, but he ripped it out, so they had to put it in his head, and they like shaved his head and everything. And I don't know, it's so scary to me because me and Travis didn't know what was going on, and we had all these doctors saying like, we have to check him for brain damage, we have to check him for this, we have to check him for that, we have to check him for this and that and this and that. And it was such an emotional time because I was like, this was not supposed to happen. He was perfectly fine and healthy. It was all the stupid lady's fault. Someone needs to fire her. Like, I was freaking out, you know, like I told her everything, and she just thought I was some stupid girl who didn't know anything. Like, you know, I knew I didn't pee myself. I knew it wasn't just a stomach ache. I knew I didn't have to just poop, you know. It was all her fault. Like, I don't know. Anyways, so that's how all that went. Then they ran all those tests on our son, and they said he was fine. He had normal brain activity. Everything was okay with him. But they did want to keep him for a few extra days because they just wanted to make sure. And then he did have another episode where he stopped breathing like an hour after he was born, but I think that was still because he was still on sleeping pills that they had given to me, and that's why he was born not breathing. So yeah, that's pretty much how all that went. I have some questions. Okay, so do I wish that I had the epidural? No, not really. I'm actually kind of glad that he didn't have it. You know, I didn't have it, so he didn't have it, you know. One, because he was already, you know, on some type of sleeping medicine that they had just given me. And, you know, it wasn't really that bad. Like, I know they tried to make it sound so horrible, but it wasn't too bad, really. Will you have epidural next time? No, probably not, now that I know what it feels like. But then again, I know a lot of people go into labor for like 24 hours or something, and my labor was like 2, you know, not even like 5 seconds. So, I don't really know, honestly. If I'm in labor for like 10 hours or something, then I don't know. It really depends on the situation. What was it like being in the NICU? Scary, but also I seen all those other little babies. My baby was 8 pounds 13 ounces. They were making fun of him, calling like him the huge baby and stuff like that. And And, you know, I saw babies that were on like shaking machines and stuff. And I kept hearing little babies' codes go off, and it was so scary. So, yeah, it was scary being there, but I knew he was going to be okay and that he was taken care of. Are you guys gonna do anything about that nurse? If there's ever anything wrong with my son, then definitely yes, because it would be her fault, and I will still love my son the same way if he has any type of issues. But if a lady did that to my son, damn well I'm gonna take every penny that she has and put it towards my son. So yeah, right now she looks like she's in the clear, but she better watch out, because if anything ever happens to him, we're going after her. So if you're watching this, lady, we're gonna go after you if anything's ever wrong with you, wrong with my baby. Did Travis cry? I don't know. If he did, he waited till he was out of the room so that he wouldn't be crying in front of me. I don't know. Alright, that's all I have time for. This video is almost like 20 minutes long anyways. So yeah. Thanks for watching. If you have any other questions, you can leave them below and I will personally reply to you. Bye. Why isn't it stopping? Sorry. Okay, now bye.